Okay, we are live. Boom! Good evening, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are and wherever you may be. My name is Samuel Davis III, and I am the host of Uplift Our Community, powered by Bridge Visions. Today, we want to talk about something. Last week, we talked about America and its 250th birthday coming up. This week, the subject matter is a little different. This one is about who you are becoming. Who are you becoming? Whether you're paying attention or not. How I came about this subject was thinking about there's a lot of things going on when I walk out the door of my home. I have a focus myself. First and foremost, where I'm going to go is my mission. How I'm going to get there is a whole other thing because I may engage people, I may encounter individuals or certain situations. And my question is, with this mindset of trying to get from here to there, who am I becoming in between those times, in between the space? Who is it that I am becoming that's different? I'd like to also let everyone know out in the audience, if you'd like to participate and jump in, there is a QR code just above Mr. Harris's head. I don't know, at least from my side, that will allow you to allow us to get you into the audience and bring you in. So if you'd like to participate and feel compelled to speak or ask a question, we can bring you in using the QR code right above Mr. Harris's head. So there we go. So that being said, again, my thought is that who are you becoming, and do you realize it? You know, sometimes you don't realize it. Have you ever been driving somewhere and your motion, your momentum is focused on going forward, and all of a sudden it comes to an abrupt stop, like maybe a car accident, or maybe you bump into somebody while you're on a cell phone conversation and someone taps you on the shoulder, and all of a sudden, boom, who are you becoming? And do you go, hey, what's up? You know, like I have been like that. I have, I'm not going to say have had PTSD issues, but being former law enforcement, I have a tendency to jump when people do put their hands on me. It was something that I had to use a lot of therapy to get over, and I can admit that. It's one of those things that puts touching sometimes, just like a lot of people when you see them, hey, get your hands off me, get your hands off me. Being on the other side of that fence, putting hands or having to put hands on somebody professionally, it can work for you and against you sometimes. Makes you think about a lot of things. So with that being said, I'm going to open up the conversation to you guys. Jerome, where and how can you respond to what I just said? Talk to me.
I'm sorry, I was playing Arc Raiders. What was that?
There's always one of those guys.
No, actually, I was. Would you please would you please restate your question? I was actually trying to.
So, who are you becoming, whether you are paying attention or not? In between here and there, between what you're doing today, who are you becoming? Have you, like, for instance, some people get up at the beginning of the year and they say, hey, I have a New Year's resolution I'm setting for this new year, and I'm going to get there no matter what. Things happen along the way, and sometimes you might get thrown off course. You get knocked off course. Are you becoming that person that you initially set out to be? That's kind of an essence of what I'm asking.
Okay, understood. Well, it's weird because I've been getting into more about micro habits. Making your bed, consistent breakfast, right diet, just the little things that help propel my structure in my life to keep me focused. I believe I'm textbook ADHD, so I know I can cure all the world's ills as long as there's not an anime festival going on. So with that being said, I do work on prioritization with some of the things that are going on in my life, and I I know that I pretty much embrace the thought that I am on my way to being a better person. I years ago, I know that, I was at a certain level where, I wasn't my best, or there was room for improvement, always room for improvement. And I say to myself today that, I am far from from perfection, but I see myself growing and evolving. And my hope is to always be aware of my path of growing. And I do love the more my self discipline, my focus, commitment to my community, and I feel that those working on my priorities in my life is allowing me to be a better person.
Mm. Thank you, Jerome. And listen, I want to put it out there to the audience. There's a QR code right above Jerome's head. Jerome Harris is in St. Louis. He is working with what do you call that, Jerome? What is it? A food share? Is it what kind of program is that?
Oh, well, we call it a share. So basically, it works off of a mutual aid dynamic where the citizens come together to help get materials and help each other out. We call the food that we bring in together. We do a share. We have some parts of the community can help bring it in, some parts can help set it up, and we make sure that the entire community that come are able to help with food insecurity. So for us, delivering us from those things. So we be able to get healthy, nutritious food that, up to a few years ago would have been just thrown away. Okay. We call it All Hands on Deck St. Louis. And we're allowed to help over 2,000 families a month. And we're very proud of what we're able to do with the community.
Well, let me kind of beat on your chest a little bit and also beat you down a little bit. You had J. Harris Inventor. Why don't you have your company right there instead of Inventor? Why don't you put your information right there on it, man? Huh?
Well, you know what? That's wild because it's hard to put everything in just so succinctly, because I'm an inventor. Yes. I'm a food rights activist. Yes. I have a television show in production. Yes. So, it's there's a lot going on. So, I don't want to brag.
Hey, like I said, toot your horn a little bit. I mean, I know you do. I know you're a multifaceted super being. So let people know what type of thing that you can do, and at least location you are, because we got you in St. Louis, being here that I'm in California, and Gordon as well. Let people know what's up, because we have a lot of guests that do come in here internationally and across this nation here that people like to know what areas you are. Unfortunately, one of our good friends, Benji's not here today, who's in Texas. So, I think it'll be something that you should toot your horn on and say something, because right now, in particular, this time of the year, there's a lot of folks who need some food right now. And I know that they are cutting a lot of food kitchens and soup kitchen budgets from a lot of these areas, at least around here they are. I don't know about there. Yes. You guys got snow. We don't got that out here like you got. That's for sure.
Yes, we found that it's weird. We found that a lot of the times that we talk to people in the network and so on, that the reserves are getting, the supplies are getting, they're shrinking. It's just something that they're shrinking. So to be able to help the people that come to you, it could be a bit of a challenge, sometimes more than others. So even on the lean days, we try to make sure everybody leaves with something. Okay. And we found that, I'm getting calls from different parts of the country. Matter of fact, got a call from, Benji, and we're talking about flying down there and setting up a food share in Houston, so we're excited about that. This would be one of those events where we want to work on sharing the philosophy and the education on how to set up a food share in your community. So that was just added to the list of great things that we're offering the world, where we're going to fly to different cities and actually help start their food shares.
I love that. I forgot that last thing you said about doing your share to help the communities or whatever it was, but love it, love it. Once again, anyone who's out in the studio audience, if you use a QR code just to the above Jerome's head, you can actually get into the live studio and we can join the conversation. We are talking about who are you becoming, whether you are paying attention or not. Jerome just got through talking about his situation and where he is and what he does. And now it's up to Gordon, bringing up Gordon Chavez, asking him that same question with the focus that you have and the conversation, the way it has went. Hit us, Gordon. Jump on the mic.
Hey, I really like the second part of that question, whether you're paying attention or not, because I can get so caught up in the stuff that I'm doing day to day or whatever that I lose maybe focus, but maybe more so mindfulness and intention. And I've really been working on trying to be more intentional with the things that I'm doing. You know, the things that I'm working on with the community, the things I'm working through my faith, my family, myself, and I really like what Jerome said about the micro habits. Is that what you said, Jerome? Micro habits, right? I love that, because that takes, like, you have to be really conscious, really self-aware, and really paying attention, back to your title, Sam, to what you're doing. And so I am trying to get better at everything, mind, body, spirit. I'm trying to get better at I think probably the thing that I neglect the most is myself. Is, health wise, I'm not taking care of myself. I'm not as healthy as I'd like to be. And so that's kind of where I've been trying to shift my gears to really be intentional about taking care of myself. Jerome and I were talking briefly right before we jumped on or whatever. And he said, "What do you do for fun?" And I was like, "Man, I don't even know." Right. And I was like, well, one of the things that I do, that I have done, and I can say that I'm proud of, is that I reserve Sundays for my family, and me and my wife and my boys. One of the things that we do most is we do hiking, or even just walking. Sometimes just walk. We have a really nice pier here in Oceanside at the beach. We go hiking up in the hills. And so that never comes second to anything else, for the most part. Every once in a while, something that it's unavoidable, but I could count that on one hand how many times that happens, say in a year, for example. So being intentional on Sundays to spend time with my wife and my boys, doing something that's physical, that's kind of that thing. I've also been listening to more audio and audiobooks in my car, versus listening to music all the time. I'm a big music fan, but I really kind of want to feed myself when maybe I'm not paying attention, and even if I get distracted in my head or whatever, I can always go back and re-listen, but at least the information that's feeding me, whether it's conscious or subconscious, is positive information, I think. So those are some of the things that came to my mind when I saw that question.
Thank you for that, Gordon. I really thought that what you brought in was really right on time, because I was going to ask you, has it been difficult to stay focused like that? And you actually somewhat answered that by saying that you reserving time with your family, reserving that special time, so that at least no matter what goes on throughout your week, you have that time that at least you'll be able to continue that relationship with your family and keep it going. So I think that is highly, highly important. I just want to add again, anybody out in the studio audience who is watching this, if you would like to participate and join in, please use the QR code in the upper left corner that you see on the screen, and you can join in, and we can bring you in to join the conversation. Our conversation today is, who are you becoming, whether you are paying attention or not? I think that, for instance, I will say this, and I I don't want to bring it up all the time, but it just seems like every time when I bring up caregiving, it just seems like it hits and intersects right on this point. I was focused on redoing our business, my wife and I rebranding our business, and we became caregivers, and that just pushed everything out of the way. Caregiving, it just seems like we still. I got an echo coming in. Let me see something. There you go. Yeah, that threw a wrench in our game. We were moving forward on certain things, and we were like, hey, let's get this going. We're going to change from a for-profit to a non-profit. We're going to do this business, switch it up, and as we're right in the midst of this, all of a sudden, life hits, and we have gained 2 new members to our household, and it's been something that throws a lot into the game, and it's very difficult when it's an elder and our elders, and it makes you respect time. It makes you respect and understand a lot with time, and in particular your own time, your own mortality. So that's why the subject matter came up to me about who are you becoming and whether you're paying attention to it or not, because as you're pushing forward and you're moving ahead, there are little things that come and might try to pull that rug from underneath your legs and have you laying on your back, because Lord knows I've been on my back plenty of times, and that means in the positive way. I know Jerome's sense of humor is going to be like, Samuel, that's right.
As I was saying, I was about to say, I love the brilliance of the question. Paying attention or not, I'm just gonna just jump in where Gordon was saying. I mean, that is a brilliant question, because I mean, especially I find myself having to course correct. I find myself, you know what? I said I was gonna get away from this. I said I was gonna make sure I get more time for myself. And not being just at everybody's beck and call, which is kind of crazy because I have a delivery that I have to help with some seniors and feed some people in the nearby community. But it is amazing that as soon as you can I have to remember, when you set a goal, you have to check yourself to break those habits that you had to set the goal in the first place, because you kept getting distracted. You kept going back into your old ways. You kept just giving without this or just dropping at a dime's notice or a moment's notice, where you just had to move your priorities aside for somebody else. Which I'm learning more and more in this part of my life that to stay on my focus, for my peace of mind, for my sense of accomplishment, for not only my short-term goals to be consistent, but for my long-term goals and objectives to be realized. So it's very important. It's something I'm working on. So I do, paying attention or not forces you to course correct, saying, you know what, I got to get back to the focus. I got to get back to my main goal. So I love that. You have to you have to course correct often sometimes. So I'm with you there. Gotcha.
And when you have children, you really got to course correct. Course correcting is one of those things you have to do all day long. Sometimes it's very interesting, as I mentioned before, with the caregiving. Getting my mom and dad, we have a truck. Pace comes to pick them up and take them to their facility in the mornings, and sometimes it's like herding cats to get them out. It really is. You got to get them out, and it's when you think you're getting ready to get planned, you have your plan for the day, and then they decide, you know what, we're not going to go in today. We want to stay home. Then we got to really course correct. Got to stay home, got to cancel appointments, and do all types of things. So, yeah, it's definitely something. Anybody who is watching live, if you use the QR code above and like to join in our conversation, we sure would love to have you join. Using the QR code on screen, you can join in and have comments.
Just another thing what Gordon said. I just want to get clarification, Gordon. When you were talking about, like before the show started, I was asking you about your free time, fun time, or what have you, what you get a chance to do. I liked how you examined that question. You know, so out of curiosity, ideally, you know, families taken care of or so on. What do you want to accomplish for yourself? Or not even accomplish. What would you want to do as far as a character trait that you would like to embrace more of and nurture about yourself?
That's a great question. I think that I need to work on being more, I guess, social or outgoing or extroverted, or, you know, because I really value community, and I really value community building, right? Like I don't want to be just a participant. Like I actually want to contribute to building a better community, whether it's local, whether we're, you know, when we're on this podcast, we're oftentimes spread out throughout the country. So nationally, it doesn't matter where, right? You know, with the internet, we could do all kinds of stuff, but that social component that is very helpful in building community and being able to connect with people and start conversations and do all of that is something that I've had to work on really hard for like the last, say, 10 years or so to get to where I am, who I am today, I guess, if you want to say that. Because 10 years ago, I'd be very nervous right now on this podcast. 10 years ago, I had to push myself to go to like Chamber of Commerce events and try to promote my business. 10 years ago, I would have, you know, so I've already been working on it, but I still see the growth potential that I still have, I think, if that makes sense. And maybe it goes back to that saying that we're all our biggest critic or whatever, but I still see that I can get better at it. There are times where I freeze up and I don't say things when I could be saying things and could be helping people get along better. I don't know. Community building is one of those things that I want to get better at, I guess. And I don't know if that's a trait or not, but the social.
I get it. I feel, Mr. Samuel, what about yourself?
Wow. I don't know how to put myself in it. I will say this: any fears or problems they have with overcoming a community have been worked on right through what we're doing right now. This podcast itself, the commitment that we had with Benji, who's not here at this time, last year, making a dedicated intent. I think I was brought up earlier about making up intentions, making intentions for myself and saying we are going to set aside some time and do this podcast. I believe Gordon and I have had these conversations as well. I believe that we need to have conversations, high-minded conversations in our community, discussing different topics and discussing what's going on, because you can find out really that we all have the same problems, the same issues, and we all have the same concerns, but we're just so caught up in what we're doing in our daily events that we really are a lot more closer than we really know. And once we realize that, then we also jump into the aspect of shining that light and getting those other people back into our midst to get them in there. Now I know I just lost Mr. Harris. We're gonna bring him back in here, but that has been very, very big for me and for you, Gordon, as well. So I'm jumping in and tooting your horn because that's why we got started. Uplift our community so that we can get those individuals, those businesses, those like-minded people on the same mind frame as we are, looking ahead about what's in our futures and putting our best foot forward by taking that first step.
Yep. Yes, sir.
You want to say anything about that, Gordon?
No, I think that. What's that, Drew?
I was joking around and said Gordon was playing Arc Raiders.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm playing it. I'm playing. I got 2 screens going on now.
I just to be rude, I was like, "Hey, Gordon, you play video games?" Gordon's like, "No, I'm an adult."
I didn't say that. That is not what I said. He's like, that's what he meant to say. No.
I'm sorry, you were saying, Gordon.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I back to the community. You can see Sam's shirt and my shirt. We need to get Jerome one of these shirts about getting, let's get uplifted, uplift our community. Because this podcast that Sam has put together is just one piece of the puzzle, right? It's that it's a big piece of the puzzle that really helps, for me, building my ability to be able to just hold conversation with people, right? And being able to work on that social component about myself, because naturally I would be more antisocial or more, reserved, if you want to call it that. And so I think that's great. But part of it, I think, is pushing yourself to be uncomfortable. And that's I think that can relate to just about any goal you have, because hopefully our goals are uncomfortable, right? And hopefully we get to the point where we push just past it, we get used to that discomfort, and at some point it becomes our normal. It becomes, something that now we got to raise our goal a little bit higher or whatever, or change our goal or whatever. So while you were talking, I was thinking about just that comfort. I think I don't know the scientific stuff or, the terminology, but parts of our brain are so focused on us being comfortable, whether it's the temperature, whether it's, being hungry, whether it's, we are scientifically speaking, our body or our subconscious, I don't know what it is, like, again, it's scientific stuff, wants us to be comfortable. And so therefore we're looking for a sweater, or we're trying to do this, or we're trying to get a snack or whatever it is to feel comfortable, when that's not necessarily helping us reach our goal. And if we want to build community, we have to get more comfortable, as Sam said, finding those common grounds, because we all are dealing with basically the same stuff, same challenges. Everybody might be slightly different, but for the most part, if we speak in generalities, we're dealing with the same challenges.
Yeah, this week, we went to a funeral, and it was really weird. I'm not trying to bring everything down, but the talking about community, I was sitting in the audience with watching the ceremony go through, and I sat back and I recognized as watching the friend being memorialized this day, and it was like, man, physically she's here, but spiritually she's gone, doing something different. She's gone in a way, and it really made me feel like I recognize when folks say, like some people came in wearing white, and some people wear black, and they're saying it's a celebration. And you know what? I think that this week it finally hit me that I see why people celebrate. Man, all of the physical and mental pains and anguishes that we carry, because with the subject that we're talking about today, about who we're becoming. And this friend of ours that passed, she did a lot. She did a lot of things, and she kept focused. She actually came from Panama, and she did a lot with what she had, and with the amount of people that came in and spoke about her so kindly, and even my relationship with her, just realized that there's a unity that we have in joining each other. I just want to say, anybody who's in the audience and you have a comment or anything about what we're saying, you can join us by using the QR code above that you see on screen, and we could bring you in and you could join the conversation. Today's conversation is, who are you becoming, whether you're paying attention or not? And a lot of it is dealing with our growth. And that's what it was for me. It was one of those, as you mentioned, Gordon, your growth in using social media. going through growing as a up and coming YouTube influencer. I'll say that. Your growth and what slows you up, that mindset that you have, that, oh man, I'm not going to make it. Maybe I'm afraid, I'm embarrassed, whatever, those things. This was the same thing going on for me this week. That I recognize that along the way, we're spirits. We are spirits. We are spirit beings. And it's great to find other spirits that have recognizing other great spirits and recognizing those other people in our community right here while they're alive and giving them their flowers. That's always something that I've always tried to focus on. I don't like being able to going to a funeral and speaking about how I love this person, how much I cared, because I'm showing it while I know you right now. So I don't feel that bad. So that was just a remark that I have on this funeral that I attended this week and in relation to this conversation that we're having. Any of you guys want to have a comment on that at all?
To one of your point that you mentioned when you're talking about the service for your friend that passed. I recently lost my best friend from childhood on to adulthood. We literally, like, from boys to men, and I seen a part where, the final, quote unquote goodbye, but I seen him, and it was the fact that he was, he was at rest, and it hit me about all the times, you just get on the phone, he had his interests, I had mine, but we were always there for each other. And it hit me like when you lose people, it's part of those stories that they always remind you and bring up, and you're like, oh, you remember that time and what? And I'm thinking the stories that I lost with him, those parts of how I defined myself, and that was a mourning of a part of myself as well, because we define ourselves through our connections. Okay, so those are one of the things where, especially where we're talking about who you are and paying attention to that. I know I consider myself always trying to grow and evolve and stretch outside myself, but I wanted to make sure that I stayed firm in holding on to the parts that made me, those parts that I loved about myself, that comfort me, that got me through the rough times. Those gifts and friendship that help you get to this part in life. Because imagine your existence without your friends, without your family, those people that stood by you, and that's a bleak existence, So I'm very aware of making sure that I stay thankful for what got me to this point in life. Okay, there are other things I want to do, other things I want to succeed at, or other challenges, absolutely. But I know that I'm here now, and all those adventures or mishaps or whatever, every last one of those adventures that happened to me, I'm thankful for it, because I'm here now to be able to share. Okay.
That right there, in essence, that right there, Jerome, is in essence what I'm talking about. You are paying attention to what's going on. You are growing and you are paying attention. What you just said is, in essence, everything that the subject matter is about. You're becoming this great leader in your community. You actually are this great leader in your community. And you also, in that remembrance that you have, it's keeping you focused. And real talk, feeding people, feeding homeless people, feeding people who have food insecurities, there is never a more humbling experience than that. I mean, there are people that you just don't know how the lower depths that people can go. And I say that from working in a prison system. So believe me, I understand. And when you see those lower depths of humanity, there are some people who they take that, and after a while they become callous. It becomes a normal thing to them. That's where a person loses their humanity. And I think what you said a moment ago is very, very important, that you remembered who you were. And what got you into that position in the first place? That's huge. Absolutely, that is the crux of the thing. We kind of lost our way.
I'm sorry. It's interesting you say that. I've had everything from politicians to community, other community groups or what have you. Some for good, some not for good. But they would want to come try to exploit the people that work within our community that are on those lines. And I mean, people from the clergy, different churches, synagogues, or what have you. And it's not saying putting everybody in the same pot, but there are times where I have to, I've had it where recently they said, well, we want you to pass out this information and this and that, and I'm thinking, okay, but why don't you just come and talk to the people? Just talk to, these are human beings, okay? And I tell them just about everybody in those lines, somebody or something in our society let them down. Okay, they failed them. This is in essence, these are good people. So don't be another link of failure. Reach out and make a real connection. I mean, these are my people. I am theirs. Okay, nobody's better, nobody's less. We're all here. One thing for is dealing with food insecurity, but we're making real connections. We're making real change. I'm seeing people making lifelong friendships. So it's important. It's important for me to help people connect with human beings. But my goodness, when I go, I connect also, and it gives me such inspiration. It gives me such purpose. I have never wasted a day helping my fellow human being.
Mm-hmm.
I've never wasted a day. Mm-hmm. Who can say that?
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's that's coming from a perspective that a lot of people don't see. Gordon and I were working on a nonprofit of lived experiences here in Oceanside, and we used to go out and feed people of the what do you call it? Just those individuals that were in trouble and needed that living from paycheck to paycheck and don't have a paycheck. Those people. And it really is a humbling thing. And again, it's why we're here today. Because there are people that need to talk and have these kind of conversations, not realize that there are people that go through these things every day that need help, that just need a voice and an outlet. And that's what we hope to be here. It's just an outlet, and just find those people and help get them together in their community so you can have these kind of high-minded conversations. This conversation may seem a little heavy today, but it definitely can get a lot more livelier for sure.
Well, if it helps on levity, I'm putting on my cape right now because I got to go fly off and help. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's an unappreciated human being. All right, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you having me on your wonderful show. I think show is an understatement. Bridge Visions is a way of life. I love the philosophy. I love the energy, and I have it at times. I can be a little, what's the word I'm saying, challenged in my positive spirit. But your mindset and the direction, and great guys like Gordon and Benji, and of course yourself, you always shoot for that star, and I thank you for that. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you, man. We appreciate that. We appreciate you.
For that.
Hey, with that being said, Gordon, I'd like you to give us some words to close us out then, because we're approaching that hour time frame anyway. Do you have any words or comments before we shut down?
Well, I think just one of the things that came to my mind as Jerome was speaking was that the value of a human being, the value, I don't know if that's even the right way to describe value. You hear the term, the value of life, but it's really we're all human beings. None of us are better than anybody else. We might do these things better than some, but they have things that they do better than us. But we're all human beings, and sometimes we just want to be heard. We want to be understood. Like Jerome was saying, I could pass out your flyers, but if you come out and actually talk to somebody, that's going to be much more powerful than a flyer that says we have these resources, whatever it is that we have to offer at our organization. And so making those connections, you talked about lived experiences. And one of the things that was really beautiful about lived experiences is that when he does something like food distribution, it's not those that have serving those that don't. It's the community coming together to build, to help each other get whatever, if it's food, get that food, or get whatever is being distributed together as a community, not some serving others. And so that eliminates that elevation of some over others, where it's just it's a even playing ground, if you want to call it that. We're human beings, and we have to remember that being a human being is such a beautiful, special, I don't even know how to describe it, thing that we sometimes forget.
Spirit.
There's nothing above
Spirit.
that, other than maybe our creator, if you believe in that. But we tend to forget that. We get so into whatever it is we get into, and we forget that person we're beating down as a human being also. So
that person, human being, is a spirit being. Like I said, that funeral for me, that is a spirit being, because once that spirit is gone, that body is left. And here we go. And I'm closing out on that. But again, just a reflection. Go out and hug those people that you love this week. That's what I asked in my challenge this week, is go out and hug those people that you love this week. So with that being said, another hour has went. We didn't do a full hour today, but we will be back on Fridays. Love someone this week. We appreciate you for coming out there, using the QR code, jump out and jump into our conversation next week. And we hope to see you then. Take care and bye.